This is a motion for a resolution of Parliament paying tribute to His Excellency General Yoweri Kaguta Museveni Tuhaburwa, the Commander-in-Chief of the Uganda People's Defense Forces, for the visionary leadership of Uganda People's Defense Forces in safeguarding the peace and security of Northern Region, Acholi, Lango, West Nile, and Karamoja. Whereas Article 209A of the Constitution of the Republic of Uganda provides for the function of the Uganda People's Defense Force as the preservation and defense of the sovereignty and territorial integrity of Uganda, aware that the Lord's Resistance Army caused conflict in the northern region between the period of 1986 to 2007 onwards, making it one of Africa's longest conflict, occasioning humanitarian crisis and widespread of human rights violations, such as death of more than thousands of civilians, abductions of children, rape, mutilation, displacement of civilians, torture, slavery, use of children soldiers, and mass destruction of property. Further, aware that the West Nile sub-region further experienced insurgency from the Uganda National Rescue Front to the Lord's Resistance Army and the Holy Spirit Movement led by Ursula Kwena, who waged war against the National Resistance Movement government in 1986 onwards, leading to loss of thousands of lives and property and gross abuse of human rights. Recognizing that through His Excellency General Yoweri Kaguta Museveni's visionary leadership, the Uganda People's Defense Forces has over the years successfully combated the activities of the rebel groups in northern Uganda, including disarmament in Karamoja, which has resulted in liberation, pacification, and guaranteeing peace and security in the region and in the entire country. Further, recognizing that under the leadership and guidance of His Excellency General Yoweri Kaguta Museveni, the cessation of hostilities agreement between the government of the Republic of Uganda and the Lord's Resistance Movement was entered in 2006 with the purpose of assembling LRA forces in safety and security, calling on the parties to end propaganda between them, and through it, there was a significant reduction of violence in northern Uganda, allowing many displaced people to return to their homes and beginning rebuilding their lives. Appreciating that His Excellency General Yoweri Kaguta Museveni facilitated and supported initiatives aimed at reintegration of former Lord's Resistance Army and other rebel combatants and abductees into society through programs for disarmament, demobilization, and reintegration. Further appreciating the tireless efforts of the leadership of Uganda People's Defense Forces working under the guidance of His Excellency General Yoweri Kaguta Museveni towards the continued peace and security in northern Uganda and Uganda generally, cognizant of the fact that His Excellency General Yoweri Kaguta Museveni has strongly championed peace and security within Uganda and neighboring countries like South Sudan, Somalia, Democratic Republic of Congo, among others, by continuing to pursue the Lord's Resistance Army remnants and ensure regional security. Now, therefore, be resolved that Parliament appreciates 1. His Excellency, the President of the Republic of Uganda, General Yoweri Kaguta Museveni Tuhaburwa, for his visionary, insightful, and decisive leadership in spearheading the deliberate efforts to restore peace and security in northern Uganda and Uganda at large. 2. The Uganda People's Defense Forces for eliminating the rebel groups and fostering the security of lives and property and providing conducive environment in the northern Uganda and Uganda generally for economic and social transformation. 3. The religious leaders cultural leaders, political leaders, and local community for their tireless contribution towards the peace-building efforts in dialogue, promotion of reconciliation, and reintegration of former combatants and abductees into society. I beg to move. Right Honourable Speaker and Honourable colleagues.
Thank you, Honourable Kimosho. Would you love to justify your motion? Is it seconded? Is the motion seconded? Seconded by Okini PP, by Akol Anthony, by Honourable Okot, Honourable Lucy, Honourable Gilbert. Gilbert, why are you sitting back? By Honourable Gilbert, Honourable Ngetho, Honourable, I'm looking at the Northern team who have felt this. By the hollow side, by the hollow house, Honourable Obua, Honourable Feta, Honourable Isaac Otimugui, Honourable Tom Azar, Honourable Aogon, Honourable David Lagen, Honourable Omona, the Minister, Honourable Amos Okot, Honourable Maneno, Honourable Kaduchu, by the Hollow House. Can you justify?
Thank you very much, Right Honourable Speaker and honourable colleagues. Right Honourable Speaker, yesterday, as we started our first ever regional parliamentary meeting, while I was seated in the tent, I had a reflection about what is happening here, Right Honourable Speaker and honourable colleagues. And in my mind and in my heart, I felt this was extraordinary. Extraordinary not because we are in Gulu, extraordinary not because the parliament has come here, extraordinary because I reflected on what used to be here and what is here and what it has taken to put what is in place in Northern Uganda and in Gulu in particular. I felt, Right Honourable Speaker, that it has taken extraordinary effort by the visionary leadership of President Museveni, guiding the Uganda People's Defense Forces, a force that has sacrificed for over 20 years, trying to stabilize the northern region. I reflected, Right Honourable Speaker, a situation where they used to tell us that guns would be singing in different tones, alto, bass, and soprano, from morning to evening. That this place, there would never be a convergence of family. People were at the run. That the pictures we used to see of people having padlocks on their lips. Right Honourable Speaker, it dawned onto my mind and heart that this cannot be taken for granted. That this effort, Right Honourable Speaker, ought to be recognized and appreciated by the whole Parliament and Uganda at large. That now, Right Honourable Speaker, yesterday, we had a force of less than even 100 UPDF and police combined, and everyone was secure. Right Honourable Speaker, in the evening, we walked on the streets of Gulu, up to like 10 kilometers inside, for jogging and health fitness purposes. And everyone was enjoying themselves. Well, and it was tarmac. Actually, it is more exemplary than most of the towns in this country. And you don't want to imagine that that has happened naturally. You want to think that this happened because there was a purposeful and visionary leadership of both the nation and UPDF as an institution of government. But very finally, Right Honourable Speaker, I felt that we need to appreciate the extraordinary patriotic and the visionary spirit of the President. Right Honourable Speaker, even some of us members of Parliament and the other big rich men in town, whoever gets in money thinks of transferring their homes in those countries. I felt that for the president to have fought for peace since 60s up to now, and later on integrated his son who is a general, and who made the last assault on Kony in Garamba, and delivered the tranquility that we see, it is also worth thanking the president for. And our appreciation also goes to all the UPDF commanders, but also General M.K. Muhoozi Kainerugaba for the last assault and effort that he took in Garamba. I beg to move right on, Speaker. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Honorable Kimosho. We'll have 1 seconder from West Nile, Lango, Acholi, Karamojong. Let's start with Honorable Amwaka. I have the, you'll bear with me. The president has only remaining 30 minutes with us. He has other things. But because he loves Northern Uganda, that's why he has been able to come here. Your Excellency, Gulu City is the most clean city that you can ever talk of. Very clean. And these people moved the whole night. The place is so peaceful. Honorable Amwaka, just 2 minutes.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. Your Excellency, the President of the Republic of Uganda, the Right Honorable Speaker of Parliament of the Republic of Uganda, the Right Honorable Deputy Speaker, honorable colleagues, I rise to second the motion that Parliament pays tribute to H.E. General Yoweri Kaguta Museveni, the President of the Republic of Uganda, the Commander-in-Chief of the Defense Forces, for the commendable leadership of the Uganda People's Defense Forces in safeguarding the security of the west of this part of the region, Right Honorable Speaker. Right Honorable Speaker and honorable colleagues, the visionary leadership of His Excellency the President, as we today celebrate one of his greatest achievements in ensuring peace in this part of the region, has manifested itself, Right Honorable Speaker, by the sitting of this Parliament in this part of the region. Right Honorable Speaker, I want to agree with the move of the motion and second the motion because of the result of all that the President has done in ensuring peace in this part of the region. For those of you who have ever lived in a war-torn area will agree with me that life in a state of war is a life that you never wish to live in after war. Right Honorable Speaker, this part of the region was inaccessible for most of the Ugandans, but today, because of the peace that has been ushered in, we here celebrate our President Yoweri Museveni. We also celebrate the contribution by the UPDF in pacifying this part of the region and the whole country. Right Honorable Speaker, notably, we want to also recognize key individuals who made heavy contributions in ensuring that we achieve peace in this part of the region, Right Honorable Speaker. Notably, as we celebrate the achievement in peace, Right Honorable Speaker, we recognize our fallen sons of the soil who contributed heavily in contributing peace in this part of the region. The late Paul Lokech, the late General Keta, Right Honorable Speaker, the late Colonel Ochoara, among children of the soil who contributed heavily in bringing peace in this part of the region. Unfortunately, there are no more. We pray that the good Lord rest their souls in eternal peace. Right Honorable Speaker, today we also celebrate our very own Commander of the UPDF, General Kainerugaba, for his heavy contribution. You are aware, honorable colleagues, that at one point he was also in operation in Garamba. And this is something notably that honorable colleagues cannot go unmentioned. Honorable members of Parliament, we We celebrate the contribution of our religious leaders, but also among those who served in the UPDF and still serving, some of the good generals like the Lieutenant General Charles Otema Awany. He's among the people who comes from this part of the region. And of course we have to celebrate. Right, Honourable Speaker, when you hear the celebration coming from the tent, definitely I want to believe that the members do agree with me on his contribution in this part of the region. Right, Honourable Speaker, as I continue in appreciating the move of the motion, it is important that today we also celebrate our religious leaders. I'm aware that Archbishop Emeritus John Baptist Odama is here. We recognize his heavy contribution in bringing peace in this part of the region. Right, Honourable Speaker, we recognize the contribution of the Acholi Religious Leaders Peace Initiative. We recognize the contribution of the cultural institution of the Acholi, Lango, West Nile for their heavy contribution in bringing peace. Madam Speaker, as I go to conclude, the biggest problem that we have ahead now as we celebrate the peace that has been ushered in is managing the peace. Madam Speaker,
there is a procedural matter. Honourable members, yes, a call.
Right, Honourable Speaker, I raise on procedural issue. Right, Honourable Speaker, I was very excited and very happy when Honourable Dan came out with this motion, and I seconded it. I stood up. But at the point when he was talking about how peaceful this area is, I thought the seconder will raise some of the issues that we have in Northern Uganda after the war, which need to be addressed. But the fact that she is concluding without talking about the issue of compensation of the war-affected people in Northern Uganda, where we are talking about the livestock compensation, we are talking about life which is lost in Northern Uganda.
Honourable,
we also have to talk about the conflict which is still ongoing in Apa. I think we will be missing this particular session that I was happy about. Right, Honourable Speaker, are we proceeding right? We are proceeding
very, very well. If you had my opening remarks, I talked about the post-war, I talked about the issue of compensation, I talked about the issue of the land, and where I said I will hand over the memorandum to the President, because these are issues that must be handled. Even after us achieving the peace in this area, this must be handled. When you see a woman defending what happened during that time, personally I was in Gulu, you know it very well, where you would go and sleep just in Bobby here for 1 week. You cannot come back to Gulu, you cannot proceed, you're under siege. It is, and I'm giving all the women to second, because women would be raped by you people. Yes, can you conclude?
Thank you, Right Honourable Speaker, for your wise ruling. Right Honourable Speaker, as I go to conclude, yes, we have achieved the peace. But I want to state very clearly that we are in the process of managing the peace. And there are salient challenges that, colleagues, you agree with me, that need to be attended to. For those of you who have been in the town, Gulu City, when you move late in the night in some other parts of the suburb of the city, we have so many young people, children and youth who are stranded and living in the streets children and the young people. And this is the result of the armed conflict that has been in the region. According to the statistics that you've got, Madam Speaker, so far we have about 2,000 street children and young people who are stranded in the streets, snatching women's handbag, grabbing money around in the local markets around. And Right Honourable Speaker, life is becoming, we are getting back in a state of where there is no actual peace again in the real community where these women are living. So we need to deal with how to address the questions, the plight of these children who are living in the street, Madam Speaker. I want to implore Parliament and Your Excellency the President to ensure a special program for these street children in Gulu and the neighboring districts of Gulu City to settle down the children who are in the street. Right, Honourable Speaker. Secondly, there are special programs of government coming in the area, but of course when you look at the impact and how they are being received by the community, there's a lot of gap. This is coming because of mindset problem. Right, Honourable Speaker. Many people have talked about the question of mindset. What is bringing this? This is a result of the armed conflict. After the war, they brought in the program of PRDP. But PRDP had the component of ensuring that we address the question of psychosocial support. And this was not dealt with comprehensively, Right Honourable Speaker. And for this reason, we rushed quickly to implement development programs. We left the aspect of psychosocial support, Right Honourable Speaker. And that is why today, when we are living in our community, we have so many children who have returned from captivity. We have so many children who are born in captivity. They have nowhere they can belong. And these are people who need to be attended to psychologically very closely, Right Honourable Speaker. And they're in our community. I pray that as we celebrate the achievement of peace today, it is very crucial, Right Honourable Speaker, that we provide support to the children who have returned from captivity, to provide support as far as psychosocial development is concerned, so that even the government programs that are coming, like PDM and the others, could be appreciated by our people. Because once you don't address the mindset of the people, we may not be able to do a lot. Right Honourable Speaker, as I finally make my last statements, Madam Speaker, sir, I want to, Madam Speaker, as we celebrate the peace that has been ushered in by the President and the contribution of the UPDF in bringing the peace, it is very important that we look at the impact of the armed conflict that has been so devastating in the region and design special affirmative action programs that can deal with it. We have vast land, but the utilization of the land per household, land holding is 10 acres to 12 acres, 15 acres, but usage is only 3 acres. There are capacity gaps in terms of how we can utilize the land that we have. These are results of the armed conflict. I pray, Madam Speaker, that colleagues do support the motion that has been raised by my honourable colleague, that we do appreciate the President and the UPDF in bringing peace in this part of the region. I beg to submit.
Thank you, Honourable Lamwaka. Your Excellency, we may need a
these children, because some of them are born out of that street.
A great tribute to His Excellency, the President of the Republic of Uganda. I'm really seconding this motion, Right Honourable Speaker, and I would like to thank His Excellency, the President, for safeguarding peace in Northern Uganda.
We are now enjoying peace in Lango sub-region, in Acholi sub-region, in West Nile, and in Karamoja. Right Honourable Speaker, without peace, there is no development that can be brought in any region of this country or in the world. We first of all want peace, and that is the priority that we are talking about.
Lango sub-region was equally affected by insurgency for more than 20 years, that our people were in the internally displaced people's camps. Right Honourable Speaker, we now see this peace. We only need to fight poverty, to increase household income, and to promote mechanization of agriculture, and to do what it takes to bring money in the families, to bring money in the pockets of our people. Right Honorable Speaker, I want to continue to say that, and for Northern Uganda as a whole. Right Honorable Speaker, he put several developmental plans in his manifesto for Langu, for Acholi, and for Northern Uganda as a whole. Right Honorable Speaker, I would like to interest His Excellency the President that may he consider fulfilling most of his pledges, because there are others that have been overdue, including cattle compensation that is going very slowly. We want him to really go back and say, this time round, before the elections of 2026, that we are taking him back as the President of the Republic of Uganda, and we are saying, Your Excellency the President, we beg you to fulfill most of these pledges. You know them. Your Excellency, we are really happy that you consider this Parliament as a very important arm of government, and we are here to interact with you, although we shall listen to you in silence according to the rules of procedure of the Parliament of Uganda. Your Excellency, you have done a great deal in this country. We wish you long live as you still continue to lead this country in the way you are doing it, because the steady progress that we are seeing is something that we have to appreciate. Long live the Right Honorable Speaker of the Parliament of Uganda. Long live the Parliament of Uganda, all the members of Parliament who are here and deliberating on the issues of Northern Uganda. Long live government of Uganda, and long live everybody in this country. I thank you, Right Honorable Speaker.
Right Honorable Speaker, I stand here to second the motion to pay tribute to the Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces and to the UPDF for the job well done in securing our country. Right Honorable Speaker, I was born and raised in Karamoja. I grew up hearing bullets. I grew up knowing that we have to hide and run for our lives, for safety. I grew up knowing that bullets were a medium of exchange in our markets. I grew up seeing boys and men carrying guns in their shoulders and using it as their walking sticks, and they could use it on anyone who offends them. It was extremely insecure growing up in that part of the country. Before my parents died, every evening as they returned home alive, we celebrated, because at least we knew that we were one day short of being orphans. That is the story for every child that has grown in Karamoja. That time, the guns in our region exceeded the number of guns in some of the ESC countries. It seemed impossible that insecurity would be solved. It seemed impossible that guns would go silent at some point. Until 2006, when against all odds, against all the negative publicity, the UPDF, under the able leadership of President Museveni, took a bold step to disarm the people of Karamoja. It was not an easy task. I witnessed the disarmament process. I witnessed when the soldiers died. The commanders, I saw their bodies in parts of Karamoja. I am a witness to the level of sacrifice of the men in uniform, the UPDF. At some point, I asked myself, what was the motivation? Up to today, I cannot find the answers. That spirit of sacrifice, the revolutionary spirit, I do not know how the commander-in-chief inculcated that revolutionary spirit in the UPDF. A spirit that doesn't see impossibilities. In 2010, an exercise, Madam Speaker, in 2010, up to 2007, for the first time in my life, I slept without hearing a bullet. And it's the same for the people that lived in Karamoja. For 7 consecutive years, the UPDF proved to us that it was possible to pacify that part of the country. In 2018, we imagined that Karamoja was now peaceful, and the UPDF had to be deployed to secure some other parts of the country. As if these criminals knew that the people that had subdued them were now going. They came back. And that was the insecurity we were debating in this house when I seconded the motion of Honorable Anthony Essenu. I want to thank this parliament and to thank the President of Uganda for listening to that motion, to do a second disarmament exercise. Otherwise, if they had not done that last year, maybe perhaps the members of parliament from Karamoja who are here wouldn't even be here now, because the situation was again bad. The UPDF have mastered the art of dealing with the criminal elements in Karamoja, especially those who carry their guns and misuse it to destroy the peace of others. I want to stand here to support the cause of the UPDF, to support that if a budget appears in this parliament the way it has been appearing, we just maintain it. Right, Honorable Speaker, in the same revolutionary spirit that the NRM subdued the gun in Karamoja, I have the conviction that in that spirit they can subdue the scourge of poverty in that region. A region that has continuously reduced the numbers of wealth creators in the country, that has spoiled the indicators of this country. I have a strong belief that if we attacked this menace with the same revolutionary spirit, and the UPDF can deliver it for us, that we will be there with the rest of the country on the same line. Right, Honorable Speaker, it is my appeal that even as we celebrate these great achievements of the UPDF, not only in Karamoja, but in the country as a whole, that the transition from insecurity to sustainable peace doesn't be rushed. That the withdrawal or the decline of the UPDF in Karamoja should not be rushed. Otherwise, the same criminal elements who came back in 2018 can come back fierce and worse than they were in 2018, and they could harm our people the more. That is my appeal, Right Honorable Speaker. Right Honorable Speaker, the second appeal. Given the level of the orphans, the number of the orphans that this war created in this belt of the country, not just in Karamoja, in West Nile, in Acholi, in Lango, and in Karamoja, the statistics indicate that over 60% of our children are actually orphaned. Perhaps that's the reason we're having a crisis of teenagers whom we don't know how to deal with. It is my appeal that government will consider a special fund to support the orphans that have come up as a result of the war. I submit, Right Honorable.
In education, you have a motion on education for the Karamoja region, and Honorable Jessica. Kindly, the President has other engagements.
Your Excellency, the President of the Republic of Uganda, Right Honorable Speaker, Right Honorable Deputy Speaker, and the entire House. I am seconding the motion to recognize, appreciate, and celebrate the efforts put by our head of state and other patriots for the peace, security, and sustainable governance that Uganda is enjoying. I am a child of the soil. I want first to appreciate the peace at hand, which we never had. The security at hand, which we never had. Good governance at hand, which we never had. Right Honorable Speaker and colleagues, we thank His Excellency so much with other patriots for the work well done. Leadership is chosen by God. From the book of Psalm, chapter 13, verse 14. Therefore, we want to thank God for the Son, His Excellency, who has been ordained and given to this country so that we get liberated. As West Nilers, we were refugees in South Sudan. We were refugees in Congo. The President did a very remarkable work. When he took over power, he requested us to come back to Uganda. If you did not do that, Your Excellency, probably we would have changed our nationality, remained in Congo, remained in South Sudan. Your Excellency and the patriots of Uganda helped us to have peace, which we did not have, security which we did not have, because we are in the hands of people who did not recognize human rights. We got tortured. We were massacred. We vividly remain indebted to you because we remember the Umbati massacre, the Atiak massacre, and because of the peace, Right Honorable Speaker and colleagues, though with a lot of pains, we organize memorial services. This region was labeled a lot of names, negative names. As we are seated here, those who are in Guli in our region have now changed mindsets. We were called Anyanya because this region was characterized with bloodshed. Here we are, seated comfortably, deliberating because of the fruits of His Excellency the President and other patriots of this country. Your Excellency, allow me say this. We leaders of West Nile and people of West Nile have listened to you carefully for all these years. We are changed people. We have learned from you. We appreciate the systems you have put in place. We now want you, with your team, we are requesting you and your team to help us to have economic liberation. We have learned. We are your ambassadors. We are your disciples. We are ready to lead our people. I want to end by giving special appreciation to you and the entire government because the conversation we are asking you to do is not because of your bad deeds. You are acting fatherly to compensate people because of the bad deeds of other people. Therefore, Your Excellency, we plead with you to continue with the godly spirit to compensate us, especially West Nile, we have never seen any coin. And people are labeling us negatively. We are your ambassadors. I end by saying, may God continue to bless your family. May God continue to bless our son, MK. Your Excellency, we are here as your children. We are here as your disciples. Thank you so much, Right Honorable Speaker, and the entire House. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you.